Once again, I'm honored to take part in an event being held by the Three Blind Mice. This time it's the Grand Prix Invitational. The casting we're all using is the 1964 Pontiac Grand Prix by Matchbox. It's really a good-looking car. There's something about it that drives me crazy that I'll mention a little later. But all in all, I'd love to have this car in 1-to-1 scale. And the casting's really nice. It's a good-looking little car. But I'm going to change that. Hopefully it still looks good when I'm done. But I'll let you guys be the judge of that. So anyhow, we got to crack this thing open. So do the usual, drill it out. And, I have my favorite trusty drill there. And go through the usual process. You've seen me do it before, drilling these out. And I did tap it for screws. Sometimes I use self-tapping screws. This time I didn't. This time I tapped it, trapped it. Tapped it the good old-fashioned way. And that actually came in pretty handy because I ended up putting longer screws in it and stuff. So anyhow, get it tapped out and take it apart. And it's interesting because as you saw earlier, it has the doors that swing open. And that led to some complications for me. But we take it apart, usual pieces, it comes apart pretty easily once you have it drilled out. The base, the wheels actually look pretty good on this, but I do end up swapping them out for other wheels. But, we have the base, and then we try to get the interior out of here, and so that comes out. It was kind of a creamish color. I do end up changing that. And once again, you see me fumble with these things. It's maybe I need to let my fingernails grow. Maybe that's part of the problem. But here I ran into a little problem that I just thought the glass would pop out. But it turns out that just the way the doors are and the way the glass fits, it wasn't quite as easy as you would expect. But then, I come to my senses and realize, well, heck, why don't I just take the doors off? They come off. So anyhow, there's a metal spring type thing that's holding them in place. That you can kind of see it there. It's black. I'm taking it out there. There it is. Get that out of the way. The doors pretty much fall out. Once the doors are out of the way, then the glass can come out. And, I pressed a little too hard. Oh! Pressed a little too hard on it. But fortunately, I didn't damage it. So there you go. You have the casting. And the doors. Yeah, the doors. The doors drive me crazy. So if you take a look at this, you see that those gaps on the doors are about 1/32 of an inch. And if we're generous, we'll say they're 1/64 of an inch. But this is a 1/64 scale car, which means the gaps at the front and the back of the door are in real size an inch at each end. And that drives me crazy. So I decided to JB weld the doors into place. I thought about trying to put seam lines on there, show where the, thin lines just to show where the door seams would have been. But as you'll see, I end up not doing that. I end up pretty much just making them flush. So I put the doors in with JB Weld, and Lord knows, I should get a sponsorship by JB Weld because I use so much of this stuff, or at least quantity discount of some kind. So I put them in with JB Weld. It was a lot of tedious filing to try and smooth it out. It's something that I've never been particularly good or patient enough to do well. Some of the guys do amazing work, and I'm not at that stage yet, but I tried to be more patient on this one. And I'm pretty pleased with the results. As you'll see, the reason I didn't put seam lines in there is because of the color I end up painting it. I thought about using an X-Acto knife to just cut a line in it, or scribing a line into it, and then after I chose the color, it seemed a little silly. So I just tried to go as smooth as I could on the sides. after using my best friend JB Weld, I used a teenage car owner's best friend, Bondo, to smooth out any remaining roughness. And, I filed and sanded all of that down, as you'll see here coming up shortly. But I was pretty pleased with myself that I was more patient probably than I've been on any other casting that I've worked on before. So there you see I've got it pretty much smoothed out. I still did more work on it after this, but it was getting there. And I worked on some of the casting lines and things like that to smooth it out. Now here's where some of you are going to start shaking your head. I used the Army Painter Primer, the black, and I usually use the Tamiya Fine Surface Primer. I really like that, but I saw in a video online, actually in another area, it wasn't doing cars, but that Army primer worked out great. And so I laid down, it's black, the color I used. And I know you're going to shake your heads at this, but after doing the black primer, I put the metal cast red right over it. So the black ended up being the color, and I was trying to get kind of a candy kind of look to it, where you'd see kind of a reddish color. That didn't work, but the metal cast really gave it a great look. So my black color really is the primer. And so then I added some detail to it and painted the interior gray, painted the base. That's that same black primer again. I'm thrilled with the primer, and for the price, you can't beat it because you get so much more than the Tamiya. There you saw I actually put some details on the base, and I did a wheel swap and just added a few more details, added the tail lights on there with the Citadel paint, put the glass in gauzy. And yes, that's a Total Rewards notepad in the background. Paul, if you're watching, yeah, I picked that up on a trip to Las Vegas. So, and I used the gauzy that you referred to so many times. So here's the original casting again. That's where we started out. And I do like the car. It's a good looking car. But it's one of those things that the doors just drive me freaking bananas. So for me, they had to go. And so now you'll see where I ended up. And I think it turned out pretty good. The blue color of the glass worked out fine. The fact that the doors ended up being sealed in really made putting the glass back in difficult. As you saw originally, I had to pull the doors to get the glass out. So I actually had to sand down some corners on the glass to get it to fit back in there. Not that you can see in looking at it, but just to get it back in there, it took some work. So there you have it. That's the end result. I'd really like to thank George, Paul, and Lee for holding these events. I really enjoyed participating in it. I'm really honored to be in this with you guys. Hopefully everybody likes this video. If you do, subscribe to the channel. Be sure and check out the other people in this event. I'm certain there's some truly magnificent builds. This is my last video before Christmas probably, so everybody have a wonderful Christmas, and I'll see you at New Year's with the Battle of the Blades. Talk to you later.